Hey guys, Omar here. Just wanted to go through an example here with how to find correlation in Excel. So kind of going off that temperature and ice cream sales example that we have, want to find the correlation between these two variables, right? So if I'm thinking intuitively, right, how would temperature affect ice cream sales? I would probably say as temperature goes up, ice cream sales also goes up, right? But if I'm just looking at these numbers, I have no idea if that's true. So correlation is just a way of measuring that, right? Is there a positive association, negative association? We denote this with R. R is kind of like what we denote as correlation. I'll start with the nice Excel command. So the way I kind of recommend everyone does this, it's nice to do at least once by hand just to appreciate it, but yeah, Excel, very helpful, right? So equals coral is the command we're going to use here. And all you have to do is select your X values and your Y values in any order, really, right? So if I select the temperature first and put a comma, select the ice cream sales, hit enter, and you'll get your correlation, right? Pretty strong positive correlation, right? And I'll even show you that if you select it the other way, equals coral. So if I chose ice cream sales first and then temperature, doesn't matter, it's still going to give you that same number, right? So you can do it in whatever order you want, and this will give you correlation, right? Pretty strong, pretty close to 1, right? The closer it is to 1, the stronger the positive association. Closer it is to -1, stronger the negative association. So this is telling me, without even looking at a graph, these are probably positively associated. And we can find a graph easily enough. We just select everything, go to insert. I think scatter plots up here, yeah. So you can kind of see, yeah, I think that did it correctly. This is temperature, ice cream sales, yeah. So as temperature's going up, ice cream sales also going up, right? So this positive linear trend is being represented with our statistic there. So yeah, pretty short tutorial there. I'm also going to find correlation the longer way. So I'll be using this horrible equation. If you wanted to see that, if you're happy with this, you're free to check out, don't worry about it. But if you want to make sure we get that same number, if you wanted to do it by hand, we need to find a couple of different things. So standard deviation of X, standard deviation of Y, mean of X, so mean, yeah, let's just call that mean X, mean Y, and sample size, right? That is our N. So we have to find each of these things, plug them into this awful equation correctly, right? And actually one more value, but we'll kind of have to find that. Just to see if it ends up being the same number, right? Using that awful equation. Remember, stdv.s is what we can use to find standard deviation, right? My explanatory variable is the temperature. I'm going to use temperature to predict what the ice cream sales might be, right? Same thing for the y variables. These are my response, the outcome I'm interested in. Then I have to go through this whole thing, right? Average of the x variables, average of the y variables. N is my sample size, so looks like I have 12 different days that were measured. And that's most of everything in the equation except for one thing, right? So if I'm looking at this as reference, I have N, Y bar, X bar, SX, SY, N minus 1, just using N again. I have to find this thing up here, the sum of XI times YI. So what is that? Let me move this a bit. Let me move this correlation out of the way. Okay, so the sum of xi times yi, well, that's taking each x variable and multiplying it by the y variable, and then adding up all those results. So I have to repeat this for each individual value. Remember, with Excel, very easy to do that. You just click and drag down. Once you have that operation kind of defined, I had A2 times B2 for this top cell. And then if I just click and drag down on that bottom right-hand corner, it will just repeat it for the next cell, right? A3 times B3, and so on and so on, right? So what that other value is the sum of all these products. All the xi times yi, I have to add them up, and I get my sum of x times y. That's what this thing is at the bottom. All right, now we have all the pieces. Let's see if we can get this magic value that Excel does in like not even a second, right? So my correlation is going to be this sum, and I should be careful. Let's put some parentheses here. This sum minus n times your two means. Pretty sure that's the numerator. Let me double check. I am used to a different formula. N times x bar, y bar. Yeah, and then we have n minus 1 on the bottom. So on the bottom we have n minus 1. So we have 12 minus 1 in parentheses. Actually, let's be extra careful here. So I want to put the entire thing in parentheses. Why isn't it showing up? And also the n minus 1. So we have n minus 1 times sx times sy. And that's pretty much just that awful equation all written out in Excel, right? Referencing all those numbers. And look at that, we end up with the same value, right? Much harder to find each of these pieces, plug everything in, and then make sure you have order operations all correct, right? So I would definitely recommend just sticking to Excel using that equals correl function to find correlation. Yeah, it's nice to do maybe once with not so many variables or not so many values, but hopefully you kind of get the idea. I'll be providing this Excel file on Canvas if you want to take a look at how all this stuff works. All right, that should be it.